Hello. Hi, Aidan.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. This is the Hiring Lens Live. And yes, it may look a little different. There's typically four of us. There's two of us right now. Both Thomas and Christine will be with us next month. So Aidan and I are going to jump into some topics and hopefully shed some light on the current market of talent acquisition and hiring. I'm Jeremy Nichols. I'm with Gecko Hospitality. I work in hospitality recruiting in the state of Florida. And to my, is it to my right or left? To this way, over here. Yeah. Aidan, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Absolutely. It's good to see you again, Jeremy. My name is Aidan. I'm the Managing Director of Aila Recruitment. We are a specialist finance recruitment company in the UK. So I feel like people generally join us, like the same people tend to join us often on this. Right. So I feel like they may know who we are now, hopefully, Jeremy. Yeah. And they'll see, as you say, that Christine and Tom aren't with us this month.
We miss you guys. We miss you guys. I'll try to keep up my energy. I don't think I can be as lively as Christine, but I'll do my best. And that said, if you are watching, we love to answer questions. So if you're watching and you want to throw something in the comment section, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn Live. And if you want to throw something in the comment section, well, I'll pop it up on the screen and I'll answer it, or Aidan will answer it. We both have perspectives, me from the US and Aidan from the UK. So I think we can cover a lot of ground and answer any questions that you may have in the talent acquisition community out there. And if you're watching and you want to tell us where you're watching from, you can put that on the screen. We'll pop it up as well. So thank you for joining us. I guess we'll just jump right into it. Yeah,
absolutely. I think probably just it's important to say, I don't think Jeremy and I are going to be able to talk and ramble for an hour without Tom and Christine. So we'll probably keep this to 30 minutes unless we go over, because the topics are great and we get a lot of interaction. But hopefully we'll smash this out in 30 minutes.
Unless someone's Wi-Fi goes out and all of a sudden one of us is left by themselves. And then I don't know what I would do. I have no clue what I would do. But hopefully that.
I'm not going to even talk about that because
let's not talk about that. All right. So, do you want to go through the banners and the questions first, or would you like to bring up your the graphs and statistics? What would you like to do?
Let's bring up the banners.
Okay.
The graphs.
The graphs.
I think
Okay. All right. I'll bring up the first one.
It gives a real good insight into just the world of recruitment that we're in now, right? In terms of how different it is, and it gives us a bit of a topic to carry on talking about it. So yeah, let's bring them up.
All right. Boom.
Cool. Awesome. So first thing I wanted to bring up and mention was ultimately how COVID has shaped and changed the recruitment industry. So this is a global graph which demonstrates applications per job prior, but then also throughout the coronavirus crisis and obviously where we are today. So there's generally been a increase in the amount of applications per job ultimately every year from 2017 up to 2019. And then what we've had, as everyone would expect, is a big dip and a crash in the amount of applications.
Yeah, let's look at that again. Reasons. Look at that.
I mean, a huge crash, right, from 2020 to 2021. And that's not anything that I don't think anyone would have not expected. People weren't applying for jobs. A lot of people were furloughed. A lot of people were let go. There weren't as many jobs. And now that obviously the markets are starting to open up again and businesses are rehiring, we haven't seen the increase in applications that you would probably associate with the amount of jobs that are in the market.
Yeah. You know what? It's a good reason you should look at that graph one more time is when we talk about, and we'll jump into the candidates market a little bit in a couple of minutes, but when employers are not moving quick, right, and they think that there's a lot of candidates out there, this right here should show you, like the dip right there should show you that if there's not that many candidates out there. I mean, there are, but they're hot, they're working, they're not proactively applying to your jobs right now. But
100%. Yeah, there's been a big shift, which we could go into so much detail in terms of what that looks like now. And as you say, in terms of not as many people applying for jobs, they're being more specific, you're having to be more proactive to find candidates and to really headhunt them and pull them and entice them to make a move. So yeah, the landscape has changed massively from a recruitment perspective.
I've been recruiting for over 20 years. I've been through, this is my third recession that I went through. I thought I've seen some crazy stuff, and this is just insanity. Complete insanity. Here's the next slide right here. This is for the UK.
Yeah, so this just demonstrates the difference in what ultimately 1 year can make from an application perspective. So average applications per job in the UK around about 15. We probably don't want to worry too much about the numbers, but if you just look at the decline, we've gone from 15 per job down to 8 per job average across the UK.
Right.
Which, from an employer's perspective, only shouts out to me, you have to do everything you can to make your job advert stand out. Because if you've got less people applying for roles, you have to be the one that they apply for.
Right.
And
let's do the second one right here.
Yeah. So
same thing.
Jeremy, you and I always talk where you always say, hey, you're 6 months behind us. And I really hope that slight little increase on the US side is what we're about to do. So hopefully, actually, you'll start getting more applications and you'll be like, wow, here are the candidates again. And then we'll feel that 6 months later.
Yeah, let me parse that a little bit real quick here. Okay, so you're looking at Q4 right here, right? So I guess for me in Q4 it's opposite for me. Florida, like that's the United States. For Florida, we're in our season in end of Q4, Q1, Q2. So I guess I don't think I've really seen that much of an influx. But again, maybe on the corporate side they have, because I'm a contingency-based headhunter. So I don't really post that many ads. So I really don't. Out of all the ads I have, maybe 5% or 10% of them are listed, right? We just go after our people. So I guess, maybe on the corporate side, if you're a corporate recruiter or you work internally in HR and you have seen an increase this last quarter, please just let me know. I don't think I'm the proper person to answer that question. Just because I don't post that many jobs.
Fair enough. And I think I might have put it on my message to you when I sent you that US slide. Is the data quite light on that anyway? And obviously the US is so vast, right? It's so different from state to state. So you kind of take it with a pinch of salt. But in reality, it's still good to see that the common trend is less people applying for jobs. So absolutely, something that we need to think about from an employment perspective. How are we going to attract candidates to apply for our job? How do we entice them? How do we get them to move if we can't just put a job advert out there anymore? And I'm seeing that, so I've been talking to a lot of clients over the last month, 2 months or so. And I've been saying there are roles that I'm now recruiting for that I never used to have to headhunt. So I recruit for senior qualified finance roles, and then I recruit for part qualified, lower level finance roles where you're kind of dealing with the average salary. So there's more people studying within finance at a certain level that are easier to find. And then at the more senior level, it's harder to entice them and there's less people, right? So I naturally have to headhunt those. But now I'm having a headhunt for roles that I never would have headhunted for. I could find a good selection of candidates within 3 days max. Now it's taken me 3 weeks.
You open up a can of worms. You open up a can of worms here. I would much rather get a C-suite director, senior level search, because I know I can place that much quicker than a mid-tier management role, which used to be the opposite. The vast majority of talent that are leaving and resigning and upgrading and just leaving my industry is that the mid-tier, right above senior management tier of talent, and they're leaving the industry, and they're not they're not applying, and those jobs are everywhere. Whereas if you reach out to a C-suite or director, they tend to respond quicker, and those opportunities aren't as prevalent as the others, at least here.
Okay, that's interesting. So I would agree I'd agree with a lot of that. Like, I would find it easier to find senior people because most senior applicants are passive candidates, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're open to hearing about things. So you can always, if you've got the right job, they'll listen. But what I'm finding with the more junior, not middle management, actually more like part qualified, junior level type roles, people just aren't looking. It's really tough.
No, same here. They're not.
Like, no, I'm going to stay for now.
And they're like, where do they go? Well, here in the States, I don't know if it's the same in the UK, but for my industry in hospitality, a lot of talent in the junior roles have figured it out. A lot of them were furloughed. They had that time to think about things. They went to gig work. They can spend time with their family. They can have maybe their husband or their wife or partner work a full-time job, and they can do things on the side. I mean, they just figured it out. They've gotten rid of expenses, and they're not passionate about the industry, so they're just taking the time making money on gig work or e-commerce and then finding other industries that they can fit in, because hospitality talent, a lot of industries will take our people because they're good, hardworking people with great customer service skills. So they're transferable, especially in junior level.
Yeah. And I think in the UK, it's never been a better time to potentially look at contracting as well. So, it's the same thing. So if you get a good candidate that's immediately available, that is highly skilled in the UK, they can take their pick on what job they want and at what rate it is as well. So
same here. We have a last graph right here.
Yes. So global view on basically how in-house talent teams had to adjust throughout COVID. So if you look from Q1 2019 to Q4 2021, the difference still is that they're having to do double the amount of extra headhunting, actively sourcing individuals than what they did prior to COVID, even though it's taken a bit of an increase in terms of what they've had to do, and now it's reverting back. So basically the dark blue is candidates that they found through simply just posting a job advert. Light blue is having to go out there, attract people, headhunt them, work with agencies. So what in-house teams found is that they were having to proactively source and be a bit more like a recruiter, like an agency recruiter throughout the pandemic. Now that's starting to ease off slightly, but it's still double the amount of what it was prior to the pandemic.
Yeah, internal teams and corporate teams kind of have no choice right now. I mean, some of them might be lucky and they might attract people from posting a job, but I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket on that. I would use every single arrow. If I'm an internal team or HR representative and I'm a corporate recruiter, I'm right now thinking I need to do every flipping thing, even if it means reaching out to a dreaded headhunter, right? You need to have every aspect. And people who don't know, I spent the majority of my career as a corporate recruiter internal. So these little jokes that I make, I mean, I feel like I'm able to do it because I spent the majority of my career doing it. I get a pass. I hope I get a pass.
I mean, the key thing with that as well, though, right, is that I think we've spoken about it, for years now, Jeremy. But so we won't go into it. But what's important from a talent acquisition team's perspective when they do have to use agencies is not to just go out to 2 or 3 agencies at once. Like, you need to get someone that really understands your business, that can sell the role, can sell the opportunity, the story, and really dig and delve into the job and why it's going to entice people. Because if you work with too many, they're just not going to put in the effort that you need them to really get the right people. But we won't go into that now.
Let's go into the first question. I'll throw it up.
Awesome.
There you go. Boom. Is it the Great Resignation, or I've heard a few people say it, is it the Great Upgrade? Are people upgrading, not just resigning? What do you think?
So I heard this for the first time yesterday, and then I heard it from you today. As in great upgrade. So
Yeah, yeah.
the great resignation, I hands up was saying that this was going to be a big thing. I was one of the recruiters that was absolutely adamant that we were going to have a great resignation. You know, you have people that were looking pre-COVID that put their jobs on hold or their job search on hold. You've got people that want a better work-life balance. You've got those that were furloughed. You've got those that didn't really get what they wanted through COVID and being furloughed, and didn't feel that they were looked after throughout the whole pandemic. So I was adamant that 2021 we were going to have a huge great resignation, loads of people in the market, loads of employers looking at it, would be great. And it was the opposite, right? There wasn't this great resignation. People did stay put, and they've still stayed put. But on the whole, but what I've seen, and I agree with you, is that people are still moving, but they're upgrading. You haven't got people leaving for no job. You've got people still looking for work, but to get a better opportunity, to get more money, to get better benefits, to get a hybrid or a remote working model. We don't have the whole, right, I'm just going to leave and quit and find another job whenever I can, which I actually thought would happen.
And what that means for employers is, and I'm sure what I'm about to say is going to piggyback off of things you're going to say later, as far as moving quick and your job description and your specs. But what that means with if it is a great upgrade, which I think it is, because I'm talking to candidates all the time, and when we call them, if you have, for instance, a director of a director of engineering search, or let's say an assistant director of engineering search, right? If you have an assistant director of engineering search and you go after assistants, because most corporate companies and hiring managers want that relevant experience that's transferable. So they want A for A, they want Apple. I want someone who's got 4 or 5 years, 7 years of assistant director of engineering experience. They don't want to move laterally. Candidates now, when I talk to them, almost every single one, they want to go to that next step up. They want a director role, right? And employers have to understand that they hopefully can open up their specs and look at candidates who might not have that director role, but hey, they worked at a property that might be close to the room size as your property, and maybe they're ready for that move up. You have to be able to look at talent. If you're looking for a director of sales, maybe you should be looking at senior sales managers. If you're looking for a director of engineering, maybe you should be looking at chief engineers, because for you to get the same position applying, yes, you will. But you're going to, in this market, when you don't have that many candidates, you need to open up your specs and at least try talking to candidates who are looking to take that step up. Or you might be in a situation where you can't fill the role.
100%. There are two problems I see with that. The first is, if you hire A for A, like for like, realistically, how long do you think they're going to stay in that job before they leave again? Right. So you're going to have a constant battle with hiring, rehiring, which costs an extortionate amount of money. And the second thing is, in a market like this, if you're only hiring a like for like, you're just going to get disappointed, because those individuals aren't looking for your job. They're looking for the level above. So it's a lose-lose. If you do find somebody, they won't stay with you for a long time. You won't be able to mold them, develop them, and commit them to the business. And they'll be there for 3-5 years. They'll be there for 18 months and leave.
And chances are they're going to get a counter maybe right before they start, or they might have been interviewing somewhere that they liked more that's offering them that upgrade. And a month in, they get the call, hey, Aidan, guess what? We talked last month. I know it took us some time to get back to you. I had to talk to the board of directors, but hey, we want to offer you this position for VP of engineering, right? Okay, bye. And then the director leaves, right? So this is happening all across the board. So if it's not happening to you right now, buckle up, because it's going to happen. Like, there are counter offers like crazy. It used to be back in the day that you made a job offer, you give a job offer, and you're excited as a recruiter. Yeah, got the job offer. They accepted. We're good. No way. Totally. I don't even care. My recruiters, if they get the job offer, they accept, and the start date is, March 3rd. We're not even mentally like checking that as done. That's still a live search to me. Not until the butt is in the seat.
100%. Yeah, no, I
Right?
agree. I
Crazy.
agree. Yeah, I've got a friend out in Burlington in Ontario in Canada, and he left a job 7 months ago, and he's going back next month to the same job. Well, not to the same job, to partner level of the firm that he was in before, because actually they've now gone, hey, we wanted to get you that role. We couldn't have it at the time, but look, here's $20,000. Come back, and we'll give you a different job title. And he's like, well, yeah, because actually I've moved like for like, so going back is great for me, and it's been 7 months well spent.
And are you seeing the counter offers too? Like, it's crazy. You get somebody, they want to leave, and then that company freaks out. Like on the chef side, it's been happening like all over because we have such a drought of really great chefs right now. A lot of them have left the industry, and a lot of them, you want to talk about upgrade, their salaries are at least 15K more than they were in 19. Like their salaries have taken bare minimum of 15K hike in Florida. And and a lot of times, these candidates will get the job offer, and then their restaurant or their hotel, like they freak out, and then they give them the sun and the stars and the moon to keep them. And you think that they accepted the offer, but then obviously, there's a big temptation to like not, ruffle feathers and to stay at your current job. Hey, they like me, they're trying to keep me, and they're offering me more money and a better title. So that's happening too.
100%. Yeah, we're seeing that.
Next question. I don't even know if I should pull this one up. This will be quick. Oh, there you go. What has changed now? Is it a candidate market?
There aren't any. Yeah, I mean, what has changed? Everything. The whole market's flipped on its head, right? So, like I just mentioned, we'll go over the same things. I'm having a headhunt for a lot more roles than I never used to. Salaries have gone up. It's really, you need to really think about how you're going to entice people to join you now. It's not just a case of putting a job advert out and getting applications, because we've just shown you in previous slides that application numbers are down. So what people want in their next job has completely changed, and employers are now having to really readjust and think, how do we get people? How can we retain them? How can we source them? How do we actually get them over the line? So much has changed. It's become, it's the best market really to be in when you think about it in reality, because employers now no longer hold the keys. So they can't mess candidates around as much. They can't lowball on salaries because people won't go to them. So it's a nice position to be in from a candidate's perspective, but it's just obviously really hard to find them. So it's hell for us.
You think that you would think as a corporate recruiter or someone on the corporate side, like, oh, these headhunters, like, they must be so excited. It's a candidate. No, good Lord, it's brutal. Like, don't get me wrong. We know what we're doing. We can go find people, but it's just so the how many obstacles are out there, and the competition for the candidates with all the jobs that they're interviewing at. It's crazy. Like, I'm talking to candidates, Aidan, I don't know if you are, that like they're leaving their jobs, and I'll say on the phone, like, oh, that's pretty brazen. Like, a lot of times people will like find the job, get the offer, then leave. Like, no, I'm getting offers left and right. They don't even, it's like simple for them. They're not even nervous. Like, I've never heard that amount of confidence in candidates ever. They've always had like the back, work on the side, look, but now they're just like, I'll leave, I'll find something,
100%. But I like that. Like, I remember when I was training in recruitment, they would tell you, if someone's leaving without a job to go to, you should really press on that. And
right.
Why. That's a big red flag. Yeah. And I'd always be like, that's strange. Like, why would people do that? Because I wouldn't do it. But then obviously you're not them. You don't have the same financial situation as them. So I couldn't have done it at the time. Yeah. But then also I was in a completely different market, right? So now you think fair play, because you'll find something. And if it's not the perfect job, it will be a bit of interim work to tie you over, so it'll be fine. You'll land on your feet.
I'll give you an example. This happened yesterday. a client rejected a candidate because they, quote, lack job loyalty. But when they say lack job loyalty, they're upset because when we ask them why they're looking to leave or why they left their job, the candidate is looking for something with better hours and, more money, right? So to them, they're like, they have no candidate loyalty. And I had to push back and say, like, if you are saying that's not like, company loyalty,
Yeah.
you're going to be in a lot of trouble, because candidates now feel emboldened to say what they want. And when they're out there, they're telling you what they want. And one of the biggest topics, I guess it was going to be later, but I'm just going to put it up now. Listen to what the market is telling you. These candidates are literally telling you what they want. And just because you don't like it doesn't matter, because they're going to get it. Most of them are okay. There's exceptions to the rule out there, but the vast majority of them, it is not easy for Aidan and I to take this frustrating information and tell it to our partners, our clients. Do you think we want to tell them, hey, they want more money, they want better hours, they want a car, they want dry cleaning done, and they also want a parking pass, and they want a gym membership? That is not an easy thing for us to tell. We just want to like push the candidate in, have the interview, and make it pretty smooth. But we're telling you these things because this is what candidates are demanding. What do you think?
Completely agree. Like, there are levels and there are limits to what you can do, and often employers, rightly so, can say, that's great, I hear it, but I'm not doing it, because we haven't done it for everybody else. If we do it for one person, we've got to give everybody else a 5%, 10% pay rise. We'll give everyone else a gym membership. Mm-hmm. So there are certain things that, like, fine, you can't do it, but don't then be annoyed that there aren't candidates in the market because other employers are giving that and offering it, right? So it's okay to not be able to do it, but you need to really think about what you can give and what you can do in order to entice people to join you if you can't do what your competitors are doing for them. That's the one thing.
And I would challenge that, because you're right, but instead of being so narrow-minded and looking at that one particular candidate, if you're hearing this from multiple candidates, maybe as a company, and there are clients of mine that are doing this, I promise you, maybe you as a company need to say, we need to start providing a lot of these things that people are looking for to our team. We need to 100%. Really think about this and reevaluate the logistics of our operation and how are we going to retain talent, because it's not just about recruiting, it's about retention. Is huge. Like, that's why it's great to have Christine on the show, because she is the expert in retention and onboarding. But I spent enough time hip to hip with HR that I can tell you that it's that right there is just as important. And my 100%. Point of listen to what the record is telling you is listen to what candidates are asking, but maybe it's just not Aidan, the candidate, who's asking for this. Maybe a lot of people want this, and maybe your internal team wants this. So maybe do a survey, maybe try to change things. And overall, that will help you attract more talent with your job descriptions.
I agree. So early on, so for those that don't know, you do know, Jeremy, but I set up Aila in December 2020, right? So peak of the pandemic, been in recruitment for over 10 years, but took the plunge, set up my own company, wanted to do things differently.
In COVID. During COVID.
It's been lovely. Right. But I made a decision early on that if a company gave me a job and it didn't have remote or hybrid working, I wouldn't work the job, because I was hearing so early on that is what candidates wanted, and not every employer was offering a hybrid working solution at the time, and they were talking about going back into the office 5 days when the pandemic was over. But those employers I wouldn't register a job with, and I would actively turn jobs down, because I knew that the market was going in a way that people needed and were going to be adamant that they had hybrid and remote working. And now you fast forward 18 months or so, every single employer has a policy in place, and nobody is looking at a 5-day working week in the office anymore. And that's just where that's one. I didn't even know you had that.
That's why I was laughing when you were talking.
Yeah, nice. So my point is the market dictated that you have to have a hybrid and remote working policy. Look, my view is it is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Yeah. I can't ever see the market going back to a 5-day working week. I understand the pros and cons, and I absolutely am in support of a social environment at times and an interaction and a get together and events where everybody in the company meet up and you have the chats and the interaction. But I'm not one that supports 5 days a week in an office.
Yeah, if it's possible. I mean, obviously, those of you who follow me, you can't be a front office manager or a chief engineer and work remote. But if it's possible, if you're in marketing or if you're in finance or you're a controller, and it's possible.
Yeah,
right?
In my industry, it won't revert back.
Yeah. I have another one. Here we go.
I think they are. Our salaries really increasing. Yeah.
Buckle up. If it's not now, it will, Aidan. It's crazy.
I mean, my hesitancy there was just because I think absolutely salaries have increased over the last year drastically. But for you to bring the question up has kind of made me think, oh, okay, maybe I don't know something that you know here, Jeremy. But certainly in my industry, jobs have gone up by a minimum £5,000 a year. And then there's a lot of bigger bonus incentives, some signing on bonuses, which you never really got before at sort of mid senior level, and you're getting that now. So yeah, I think they are. I think
it was a trick question. I'll tell you why. Our salaries really increasing. I think it's a double-edged sword right there. So there, unfortunately, are a lot of clients and companies that maybe can't afford to increase the salaries or refuse to. And I hate to admit it because, we make our living when we make placements, but I've had to walk away from quite a few searches that are impossible to fill because the candidates will not take that role. As much as I tell the client to get this person, to get this role filled, this is the market. This is what they're dictating. And when I do my networking calls, when I do recruiting, I don't call for your specific property. I don't. I do networking calls and I talk to candidates and I find out what they want so I can get a really transparent, answer for what their range is. And that's how I get the ranges. And I think that's the most honest answer you'll ever get is if you give them the range when you do the interview, hiring managers or recruiters that are internal, if you give them the range, they're always going to work within the range because they want to win the interview. But us on the, headhunting side, we're talking to candidates every day and we're really getting an honest, transparent salary range of what these people are asking for. And it has increased. What candidates are looking for has increased, and what they will move for has increased. Some companies are getting with the times and they're increasing and figuring out creative ways to afford that. Some aren't.
I agree with you there. Also, I think I thought you were going to throw inflation at me then and say that's why it was a trick question.
Don't start with that, man. Are you guys getting hit? We were getting hammered over here.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
So
yeah, we've got inflation, soaring energy bills, and national insurance like tax contributions that are going up on the 1st of April as well. So yeah, it's certainly rising.
Well, we said 30 minutes. We're at 34. I still have a couple questions. Do you want to tackle one more? Or you
tackle one more. Yeah, we can tackle one more.
What are some mistakes that recruiters and hiring managers are doing right now?
Okay, so one is that a lot of hiring managers and a lot of companies are still recruiting as if it was a pre-pandemic. So still expecting to get the same amount of applications or the same level of quality coming through, or they're taking too long to come back to you or to get a second interview arranged.
If I had my air horn, I would honk it at that one right there. the timing part.
And the final thing I think I would say is that employers are still looking for a comparison for everyone they interview. So we need to stop looking for a comparison when you've got someone that you like. Trust your recruiters, trust that they have put the work and the effort into mapping out the market, headhunting people, jumping on briefing calls, meeting these individuals, and then narrowing it down to one very good person, and trust them and hire them. Because
God, that's the most important thing you said all day, right there. The comparison thing, that is so huge. Not only the speed, fine, sometimes you can't help it, sometimes there's layers of interviewing, I get it, like do your best, that's fine, but the comparison part, Aidan, is huge. And again, not trying to give me a small violin here, a sad sob story, but as headhunters, I feel like clients sometimes, they're paying us considerable fees and they want to see things, they want to shop, like they're going to buy shoes, they want to shop, they want to see candidates. But think about it, when we're telling them, look at this is it, you have 1, 2, maybe three, you got to move, and they think that, oh, it's just this recruiter can't find people. No, this is it.
I think the way that you need to look at how you're working with your recruiter is that you're not paying them to shop, you're not paying them to provide you with a few options of who you can hire. You're paying them to find you the best available person in the market, and you're utilizing their network, right? So if you've chosen me because you think I'm the best at my specific area and my job, and you know that I've done a really good job with you previously, trust me when I say there is only one person available at the moment within your remit, and make a decision on them. Obviously, that's not always going to be 100% accurate. There might be other agencies that can find other people, and people might come up a week or 2 weeks later, but you then run the risk of losing the individual that you liked in the first place, right? So I think it's just a market at the moment that we need to live with and understand that you're not going to have comparisons. So just bite the bullet, make a decision. 9 times out of 10, it will be the right one.
I agree. I have nothing to add to that one. It's been fun. Yeah. I guess we did not have anything lacking as far as stuff to say. I'll tell you that much, because normally we have 4 of us here, and this has been very easy. Aidan, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the easy questions.
Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Next month, it's always Final Friday. It'll be Christine, Thomas, Aidan, and I again. Looking forward to that. If you want to look me up, you can find me on LinkedIn at Jeremy Nichols. You can find me on YouTube at Jeremy Nichols. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, pretty much all the platforms. But I hang out on LinkedIn and YouTube the most.
Awesome. So as I said at the beginning of the show, my name's Aidan Murray. You can find me on LinkedIn, and feel free to ask away with any questions you might have about the market. I was about to say, in reality, if you want to talk about recruitment and the state of affairs at the moment, my lines are always open. I'm happy to talk to people. So it's been fun. I've really enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to next month, and hopefully see you all there.
Same here. See you guys later. Thank you.